Pull up your blankets so that you have two long rectangles to work with. And we're going to put them sideways across your mat so that you can sit in front of them. And then we're going to bring our spine up and over. And if you have another cushion or pillow or something that you want to put behind the head, you're welcome to. Arms will fall out to the sides. And then I'm going to leave it up to you how you want to set up your feet. I feel better with my knees open. Since my hips are feeling tight today, you are welcome to put your feet on the ground, knees together if you need a little bit more grounding, or you could take the legs long. Just know that if you take your legs long, it's going to feel a little bit more kind of pull in the low back. So find a comfortable position here. And we're going to feel the blankets pushing up underneath the heart. So you get a nice big lift of the chest. Your shoulder blades are dropping behind the blankets. And we're going to let the body start to soften into the props. And we'll start to take a deep inhale through your nose. And an exhale out the mouth. Take another deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale, release. And seal your lips here. Inhale through the nose. And gentle exhale out the nose. And we'll continue these nice slow breaths in and out of the nose, letting the back body soften and release and melt a little more with each exhale. We're going to feel the seat on the floor, feeling the subtle lift of the back body with the help of the blankets. Try to keep the head pretty neutral here. Since we're a little lifted, we don't want to add a lot of turning of the head and the neck. We want to allow these slower breaths to start to slow down the mind. Invite us back into our bodies. I find that the closer and closer we get to the holidays, I tend to have longer and longer lists running through my brain. And sometimes it starts as simply as when I open the refrigerator, I start making a mental note of, oh, we're running low on eggs. We need more milk. We need more X, Y, and Z. And that list just starts to grow throughout the week. And then you open the pantry and the same thing happens. We're low on sugar, out of flour. And then you start to walk through the house and you're picking things up and you're making mental notes there. Okay, I've got to put this back in the kids' room. This needs to go back in the bedroom. And I find that as all this kind of house stuff that happens while we're at home more, and then you start getting into your shopping list and you get into your gift giving list and who you need addresses for if you're sending holiday cards, and the lists just keep getting longer and longer, to the point that whatever's been crammed into my mind, I can't even keep my list straight anymore. I find that I end up walking around the house with 6 different things in my hands that need to go into 6 different places. And then I sit down and I'm completely lost as far as what I was trying to keep track of and where I was going or what task I was planning to do. And so I really look toward my yoga practice, even on days when I can only get a little 10-minute practice in, 30-minute practice, whatever I can squeeze in. I try to clear that entire amount of space and time so that I can let go of those lists, even if it's temporary, even if it's just setting aside those lists for those 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever I have available. And what I find is that those lists don't disappear. And most of the things on that list are not true emergencies. The world will not burn down because I haven't kept up with the latest list I've been tracking. When I can reset my brain in that fashion, or at least put a long pause to it, I give myself room for other processes to take place. Just freeing up my mind to be able to focus on my breath, on what I feel in my body, what I'm experiencing, whether that's through movement or through longer held poses. Usually that's enough to bring attention to things that have been long forgotten, things in my body and my well-being that maybe I haven't taken a lot of attention or awareness to. And it makes me have to really focus. I can't ignore certain pain or certain stress. I can't ignore the tightness that I feel physically or maybe even emotionally. And if I can drop into those other aspects of myself for those 10 minutes, 30 minutes, it's usually enough time, because it's such focused time, to unravel the knots, to unclog whatever's been stuck in my body. So that when I'm done with that focused amount of time and I re-enter my world of lists and running hamster wheel kind of thoughts that keep my day going, keep our house going, keep our family going, I find that I can approach it with a little clearer mind. It doesn't feel as frantic. It doesn't feel as urgent. I can take it at the pace that it's meant to be handled or addressed. So stay here for 5 more slow breaths and see if you can use all 5 breaths to really feel all of the sensations you're experiencing in the body. When you're done with your 5 breaths, gather the legs together. Roll over to one side or the other, it doesn't really matter here. And then we'll gently press up to seated. We're going to keep our double stacked blankets here, and we're going to bring our feet up onto them so that you're up on a little higher perch, if you will. And come into a gentle cross-legged seat, whether you want to fully cross at the ankles. I'm kind of in this like half cross. I just want my knees a little bit more open. So this just gives us a little bit more lift so that your spine can grow long. Roll your shoulders back and behind. And let's rest the hands on top of the legs. And just feel the warmth of the hands connecting onto the thighs here. Feel the weight of your hands. And then come back to an expanded breath. You're going to feel that expansion front of the heart, going into the back of the heart, into the sides of the body, and then lengthening through the torso up and down. Keep the eyes soft or closed. We'll take one more breath here. And gently flutter the eyes open. We're going to lean forward, bringing the hands onto the floor, opening the chest and pushing the tailbone back so that your hips stay planted on those blankets. We're not rolling forward onto the knees. I'm not feeling any pressure on the knees. I'm putting my seat back behind you. If the hips are really tight and the knees are really high, what you might want to find is a bolster or two blocks or something to place under your hands, even if they're cushions, pillows that you can find around you. We want to feel equal press between your fingers, your palms, and then back into your seat. Keep the spine as long as you can. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Equal weight coming into the hands, equal weight going back into your seat. And then from here, if this feels like a good enough stretch, maybe you walk the hands just a little bit further and start to release the back of the head. If you've got a little bit more room to move, you might start to walk it forward, however far makes the most sense to you. I'm fairly flexible in my hips, so I can come all the way to the floor. If you're having a really hard time with that, keep some height. Give yourself something to lean against, whether those are some blocks and you've got 3 different heights of blocks, if you have a bolster, if you have something else around you. I'm starting to lengthen, letting the crown of the head go forward, but again, keeping the seat down. Keep focusing on the expansion of breath, front of the heart, back of the heart, sides of the body, up and down through the torso. Three more slow breaths here. Keep the jaw loose and relaxed. And one more breath in. I'm going to gently press back up. All right, so the nice thing about having a little blanket lift here is now we have a little bit more room to kind of rock our pelvis and seat forward and back. So we're going to use this to our advantage here. First, let's change the cross of the legs. This might be your more awkward sitting. And we're going to bring the hands in front of the knees. We're going to take some seated cat-cows. But what I want you to feel is the action's going to start from the pelvis rocking forward. And you're going to feel the blankets move on you. So when you're coming forward, the pelvis is going to drop forward, and then you're going to take that inhale and open. And then as you exhale, you're going to rock back into the pelvis. Turn around and use these hands in front of the knees to kind of catch you. And that's going to be a little bit more sensation in the mid-back. You'll follow your breath here. Inhale is going to bring you forward, lifting up. Exhale, rocking back into the pelvis, hugging into the belly. You can really use these blankets here to your advantage. When I feel especially tight in the mid to upper back, gives me a little bit of room to kind of wiggle side to side as well. You just feel a little extra as you move between your seated cows and your seated cats. Move through 2 more rounds here. And then we'll come back to neutral. And let's move these blankets off to the side. Some little props out of the way. And we're going to come down into a nice long child's pose. We'll take the toes together, sit back onto the hips. If you need a little extra height, add those blankets back underneath your seat. We'll stretch it nice and long here. Let the belly hang between the thighs. Soften the shoulders, let the elbows relax. And then take a gentle rock of the forehead side to side, going from eyebrow to eyebrow. And you can really let the full weight of your skull rest into the floor here. And then we'll find stillness, letting the forehead rest. The heart drops toward the floor. Take 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to take our child's pose for a twist. Slide your right arm underneath your left armpit, all the way through till your right ear and your right shoulder can find the floor. If you're feeling tight between the shoulder blades tonight, you might bring your left hand on top of the right and push that right hand away. And we're looking only for about 60 to 70% sensation here. You don't need to push it so hard that you're now doing more work than is necessary. We want to feel just enough stretch in the back of the shoulder blades, coming into the twist through the spine. But for the most part, letting the head relax, faces relax, and the jaws loose. Stay for one more breath here. And then we'll release out of the twist, bringing both arms forward. If you need to come up on the hands and knees for a moment or move through the hips, feel free to readjust. We're going to take our twist on the other side. This time, left arm sliding underneath the right armpit, letting their head rest back down. Again, you have the option here if you want to get a little bit more into that left shoulder blade space, putting your right hand on top of left and a gentle press. 2 more breaths in. And then we'll release out of the twist. And let's slide all the way forward onto your bellies. We're going to set up for a Sphinx pose, bringing the forearms parallel to each other. Elbows are forward of the shoulders, just a hair, palms down. You're going to let everything from the hips down to the toes fully relax here. Keep the chest broad. There's just a little bit of strength required here to open the chest. I try not to crane the head looking up. I'm going to keep the neck fairly neutral here. So if you have your eyes open, you're looking forward and a little down. Two more inhales here. And then we'll lower back down. And let's press back to child's pose, this time with the knees together and the hands resting next to the feet. Top of the head dropping into the ground. One more breath in, and we'll press back up. Let's take some side bends here, and you can stay on the heels, sitting on the heels. And we'll walk the right hand off to the side. Take your left arm up and over. You can take it however far as you need. Just want to make sure some weight stays on that left hip, that you aren't sinking all the way over to the right. One more breath here. We'll inhale to come back up. Let's do the other side. Left hand crawls off to the side. Right arm's going up and over. Send some weight over to that right hip. So the stretch really happens in the setup here. Right hip heavy. Right arm reaching in the opposite direction. You don't want to have to add any extra force through the side body. We're allowing the tissue in the side body to stretch slowly on its own with the help of these two opposing directions. Take one more breath here. We'll inhale to come all the way back up. Bring the feet forward. We're going to roll down onto the back. And we'll keep these handy. We'll use those in a minute. So we're going to bring the right leg up toward the sky. And release the fingers behind the right thigh. And we just need this leg fairly up and down. If you're needing a whole lot more, you can bring the hands up just a little higher, but I don't want you to make this into a very, very deep stretch. We are going to stay here for a fair amount of time. So starting again, maybe when you start to feel 60, 70% sensation, it's a good place to kind of stop and let the body do the rest of the work. If you want a little bit different sensation through the groin, through the back of the legs, you can start to extend this left leg long. Any way that you have this set up, we're going to have a starting point and then start to focus on the breath again. The legs will do the work on their own. We have the help of gravity here. We have the help of just the positioning of the right leg and the hands holding the leg in place. You start to notice where you're feeling extra strain, tightening. And your breath comes into play by those exhales, coaxing whatever those tight spots are to unravel. Take one more deep breath here. And then we'll bend the right knee, draw it into the chest. Take some gentle movement here, maybe taking this knee for some circles. If it feels okay, you can open the knee out and bring it back in. And then if you had extended your left leg long, rebend that knee, bring the foot back in. We're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh, coming into a figure four. If this feels like enough, you're going to keep your legs with the left foot on the floor. If you want a little bit more, but not too much, what you can do is bring those blankets underneath the left foot so you have just a little bit more lift of that foot. Or if you want a lot more, you can start to bring the legs closer into the body, either lacing the hands behind the left thigh or in front of the left shin. So we want to keep the low back nice and flat, relax into the ground. And see where your body wants to go from here. So the weight of the legs will do most of the work here. You shouldn't have to do a whole lot more pushing, pulling, or anything like that. And if you've got that left foot connected onto either the floor or on your blankets, keep that right knee opening forward. Three more breaths here. We'll gently release. Hug the knees into the chest. Take some gentle movement here. We'll bring the right foot onto the ground. Extend your left leg up to the sky. Lace the fingers behind the thigh. You decide if you want to stay here, if you want to extend the leg. Feel the back of the pelvis settling into the floor. Feel the weight of your left femur bone reconnecting into the hip socket. And then bringing the attention to the back of your left thigh. Feeling if there are any particularly tight spots along the hamstring, connecting behind the knee into the calf. One more breath here. And then gently bend your left knee, hug it into the chest, take some gentle movement. If your right leg is extended, rebend that knee and place the foot on the floor. We'll cross the left ankle over the right thigh. You can decide again if you want to stay here, foot on the ground, if you want to bring those blankets underneath, or if you want to draw the legs closer into the body. Let the low back relax. Last 3 breaths here. And we'll gently release. Hug the knees in. Take a gentle rock. We'll take a happy baby here. You can take the knees wide. All right. Let's set up our blankets for a couple twists here. So we're going to set them long ways toward the back of your mat. We'll keep them double stacked. And we're going to bring the knees pointing over to, if this is the front of my mat, over to the left. My knees are double stacked here. And then hands are going to come on either side of your blankets. And you're going to use the hands to turn the torso. And then we're gently going to lower down onto the little blankets here. You can stack the hands, rest the forehead. You can have a cheek down, whether you want to turn your head toward the knees or away from the knees. But this is taking us through that twist through the belly, turning the torso all the way toward the floor. So get yourself settled in here. Make sure you can relax your shoulders. And close the eyes and let the blankets support your upper body. Legs will stay nice and heavy. We'll gently start to press back up. And we're going to switch sides by just turning around on your seat. We'll have our knees pointing over to the right, stacking the knees, bringing the hands on either side of your blankets, turning the torso, and then draping the upper body down. And again, you can play with direction of the head. Sometimes if you're feeling extra tight on one side of the neck, it helps to turn the head in the opposite direction. Then we'll settle down into this twist on this side. We'll give it a few minutes here. And gently start to press back up. Start to set up for Shavasana from here. If you have any other props that you want to add, maybe underneath the thighs, or if you're looking for a little bit more lift behind the head, I'm going to keep my blankets here and just add a little bit of an angle there. Get yourself comfy and situated. Making sure that your head and your back are supported. If you're coming into a more traditional Shavasana where you're just flat on the ground, keep your legs a little bit more space. Move them as wide as your mat. Let them kind of just flop open. Resting your arms next to your sides. Turn the palms up. Get your shoulder blades back behind you. Then move the arms away from the body a few inches so that the chest can expand. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths here together. Nice long inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, let that release. Do that again. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Once more, full breath. And let everything go. And let the breath come back to normal. Just a gentle rise and fall of your chest and your belly. Feel the full weight of your back body draped against the floor and against your props. Relax the space between the eyebrows. And take these last few minutes, having no other obligation than to lie here and breathe. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring small movements back into your fingers and into your toes. Roll through your wrists and your ankles. Put your arms overhead for a full body stretch. On and move your jaw around. And draw your knees into the chest, roll over to your left, coming onto your side. And we'll take a few breaths, feeling the ground hold you from underneath. Take a final moment here in stillness, feeling grateful for the body that you have, being able to notice and sense every inch of your body that gives you the ability to move, breathe, and be part of the world. Pressing gently with the hands, start to rise up and find a comfortable cross-legged seat of your choice. Keep the eyes closed. Bring palms to touch at heart center. And let's seal our practice tonight with a single Om. First, take a full breath in through your nose. Sigh this breath out. Inhale to chant. Om. Namaste. How's everybody feeling?